The bus station smelled faintly of diesel and hot samosas. Amit, 22, stood with a small bag slung over his shoulder. His mother clutched his hand, as if letting go would mean losing him forever. "You'll do great things, Beta," she whispered, her eyes moist. Amit nodded, though inside, fear gnawed at him. He was leaving a small village of the bustling city of Mumbai, a place where dreams were born and crushed every single day. As the bus pulled away, Amit watched his parents fade into the distance. He promised himself he'd return, as a success. Mumbai was louder than anything Amit had imagined. The streets were alive with honking rickshaws, vendors shouting in the constant hum of ambition. He found work at a garment factory, 12 hours a day, stitching clothes for people who would never know his name. Some days he skipped meals to save money. His small rented room had peeling paint and a leaky roof, but it was all he could afford. Yet every night he studied business books by the dim light of a cheap bulb, dreaming of starting his own tailoring shop. 2 years later, disaster struck. The factory shut down without warning. Amit was left with no job, little savings, and rent overdue. For days, he roamed the streets searching for work. Hunger became a constant companion. At one point, he considered giving up and returning home. One evening, sitting alone on a park bench, he overheard two old men talking. "Life's like a needle," one said. "It has to keep moving forward to stitch something beautiful. Stop, and it's just a useless piece of metal." The words sank deep into Amit's heart. The next day, he borrowed a sewing machine from a kind shopkeeper. He began repairing clothes on the street. At first, business was slow. People doubted him. But he treated every customer like they were the most important person in the world. He stitched torn saris with care, fixed shirts perfectly, and always greeted customers with a smile. Word spread. Soon, people came from nearby neighborhoods for his work. Months turned into years. His roadside stall became a small shop, and that small shop became a bustling tailoring business. Amit hired workers, many of them young men from villages like his, giving them a chance he once longed for. 10 years after leaving home, Amit returned to his village. His parents stood outside their house, the same small home with its weathered walls and tin roof. He placed the keys to a brand-new sewing machine in his mother's hands. "For you," he said softly. His father's eyes glistened with pride. Amit had learned that success wasn't built overnight. It was stitched together, piece by piece, with patience, resilience, and hope. He had left with a dream and returned with more than he had ever imagined. Not just money or business, but the knowledge that no matter how torn life becomes, with the right hands and heart, it can always be mended. The next morning, after gifting his mother the sewing machine, Amit sat outside with his father. The air was crisp, carrying the scent of wet soil after last night's rain. His father, who rarely spoke much, broke the silence. "You know, Amit, when you left, I worried every day. But I also knew you had something I never had, courage to step into the unknown." Amit smiled, stirring his tea. "Courage? Baba, I was terrified." "That's what courage is," his father replied, "being scared but moving forward anyway." In the days that followed, Amit visited his old school. The cracked blackboard and worn benches looked the same, but he saw the children's eyes. Curious, eager, hungry for something more. He decided to start a free sewing class for the village youth, especially girls who had no opportunities to learn a skill. At first, only 3 students showed up, but word spread quickly. By the second week, the small room was full. Some of the girls walked miles just to attend. Amit didn't just teach stitching. He shared stories of the city, of his struggles, and of how every setback had prepared him for something greater. One girl, Mira, reminded him of himself. Quiet, hard-working, but with a spark in her eyes. One evening, she asked, "Sir, do you think someone like me can open a shop in the city?" Amit chuckled softly. "Someone like you? Mira, the city should be scared of what you can do." Her smile in that moment was worth more than any payment. Months passed. The training program became a formal workshop, funded partly by Amit's business. He split his time between Mumbai and the village, ensuring both grew together. His shop in the city expanded to include ready-made clothes, designed by his students. Customers loved knowing each piece had a story behind it. One evening in Mumbai, Amit stood outside his shop, watching the warm glow from the inside. The sign above read Amit and Company, tailored with heart. A wealthy businessman approached him, offering to buy the business for a large sum. Amit politely refused. It wasn't about the money anymore. It was about the legacy, the people, the stitches that bound lives together. Years later, during a busy festival season, Amit was approached by a customer who looked familiar. It was his old factory supervisor, the man who once told him, "Boys like you don't make it big." The supervisor now needed urgent tailoring for a wedding outfit. Amit didn't gloat or remind him of the past. He simply smiled, took the measurements, and said, "It'll be ready in 2 days." That night, as Amit closed the shop, he thought about his journey. Every long night, every rejection, every small step forward had led him here. He realized success is not just measured by what you achieve for yourself, but by how many others you lift along the way. The road from the village to Mumbai was still the same dusty stretch it had always been. But for Amit, it was no longer a path of uncertainty. It was a road home, a reminder that the boy who once left with nothing had returned with everything that truly mattered.